Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody listening out there on Podcast Land. This is the best Xpress podcast. I am Chad, and I'm with John.
How's it going, people?
So, John, how was your week?
I've slept majority of the week, considering the temperature finally dropped down for me to do it, so I can't remember jack shit the entire week.
I'm not surprised. It's been pretty brutal on my end, too. But, I'm kind of managing, considering that I have to sleep so I can do work.
Yeah, for me, unfortunately, it's pretty much, I do two things. Wake up, stay awake long enough so I can get tired and fall asleep, or drugs.
Yay, drugs.
So how was your week?
More or less the same. Work. More work. It's when you're kind of a 9-to-5er, or in this case 10 to whatever, 10 to 6 or 10 to 7 or whatever you want to call it. Essentially you fall into a nice routine of monotony.
Works well. So happy Gamergate.
Happy anniversary, Gamergate. Yes. The reason why we mentioned this is because this week marks the 1-year anniversary of Gamergate. For those who are uninitiated in Gamergate, Gamergate is a revolt against the gaming press and whatnot. And apparently, it's been marred by the opposition as a misogynistic movement.
Yeah, well, basically, as far as when I was doing my research on it, I learned that one side, Gamergate, is trying to change the press views on how their practice for game journalism, whereas the other side is, how should I say it, a bunch of kindergartens trying to throw stuff at the other side.
Yeah. And the weird thing is that as much as I guess you could say Gamergate has been trying to open up a dialogue in regards to it, the other side is just going, covering up their ears and going, no, you're misogynist. And it's kind of unfortunate because you think in a world today where you have dialogue for everything, right down to racism, right down to human rights, right down to everything else. It is these set of examples of people who are part of anti-Gamergate, you could call them, or social justice warriors, that choose to actually cover up their ears, cover up their mouth, cover up their eyes whenever somebody actually says, let's talk.
I don't know. Majority of the time, half the time, I try to listen to the stuff. Like even with Anita Sarkeesian,
who loves to actually shut off any dialogue.
Yeah, it's like I love the fact that her comments are all disabled now. She refused to talk to anybody, and basically will take your money and
Hey, those videos that you said you're going to do, how many of them you did? 4 out of 12.
Amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you start up a new series and you're asking for money.
Yeah.
Wow. And I think you pointed this out the other day. What bag is she carrying?
A Louis Vuitton.
A Louis Vuitton handbag.
Yep.
So I know where that, $100,000 went. and whatnot. Along with those big hoop gold earrings that she wears all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But, and whenever I actually try to discuss something in Gamergate, it goes, "Oh, don't use that, ethics and journalism crap on me, because that's not true. You guys are misogynists."
So basically, a girl sleeps with a reporter to get a good review on her game is fair?
Not really, when you think about it. But, it's not about the sex life, of that person. It is about how this person used herself, or how they've used other means to actually get a good rating. And this wasn't even a good game to begin with. Like, it's one of those, if somebody were to actually make this into a book, you know how you have those little books where basically it says turn to page something if you want to do
choose your own adventure book. Yeah,
exactly. Just choose your own adventure book, and that's essentially what she did. She did this on Flash or Java or some stupid thing on there. It's barely a game.
Yeah, and in case you guys are wondering what game it is, it's called Depression Quest.
Yeah. I love the fact that at first when she said, "Oh, well, if you buy this game, proceeds go to a charity," right? And she named the charity. And when somebody contacted the charity in the first place, they said, "Oh, we nobody told us about this. Nobody gave us money for this. And then she kind of, about a week later, oh, well, sorry, that was a big mistake or a miscommunication on our part. Now that's on, now it's properly on our website, and they're actually getting the proceeds, right? How convenient. On top of that, it was really, really, the game is like nearly 6 to 8 months old at that point. And then basically, actually a little bit longer than that, come to think of it. And then when Robin Williams committed suicide, they attached their names to Robin Williams.
Classy.
And I'm like, wow, really? You just did not just do that. That's like saying, school shootings and I guess you could say bulletproof vests.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hi, I produce bulletproof vests, and if had we had bulletproof vests with every kid in the school, they would have saved themselves from being shot. It's like, wow, you are a bunch of scumbags.
Well, here's the thing about bulletproof vests: you're not allowed to wear one. You know that?
Yeah.
It's like I was curious. I went to a army surplus store. I'm saying, hey, I'd like to buy a bulletproof vest. Can I get one? I'm not allowed to buy one. Why not? Because I'm not part of the military or the police service, so therefore I'm not allowed to wear a bulletproof vest or buy one.
Exactly. It's that sort of thing that kind of makes you want to scream at the ridiculousness of the whole thing. They're on Twitter. They created a block bot based on who you're following.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're following a lot of people who are on the Gamergate or pro Gamergate side on a blacklist, right, you're automatically banned as well.
Who's banning you? Twitter?
It is somebody developed a block bot essentially on Twitter, right? And what she's done is
before we go on, who's she?
I'm not going to name this person.
No, who is it?
Okay.
The writer?
The person who actually wrote the script for the block bot is Randy Harper.
Okay.
Right. So she, I'm not going to bring her past into it. You can do the research yourself.
And Randy Harper is the person who wrote Depression Quest?
No.
Okay.
She is just some loudmouth on Twitter.
Okay.
She wrote up a script to do a block bot for people who want to use it based on, blocking people who are part of the Gamergate movement.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if you're following person X and person Y and person Z that are all part of Gamergate, then you cannot follow person A, B, or C that is not part of, Gamergate.
Okay.
Because they chose to be on the opposition side.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you're a game developer, right, you're friends with A, B, and C, right, but you're also following X, Y, and Z, you're automatically banned from them, right? Even though you may be friends with them. And yes, there is a whitelist for it, but it takes a while for that whitelist to kick in.
And this is built into Twitter?
It's not built into Twitter.
So how do you,
there is a script.
I'm just curious how this works. So
you go to this website.
A, B, and C will basically not allow you to follow them.
Yep. They'll automatically block you.
If they see you are following X, Y, Z.
Nope. The script will see you if you're following X, Y, and Z.
Amazing.
Yeah. So
and Twitter's not doing jack shit about this.
Nope. In fact, Twitter, apparently one of her friends actually works for Twitter.
Ah!
Yeah. So it is, a really, really interesting set of, events and people that are involved with, the tech industry and whatnot. And, no matter what you do, the answer is you're misogynist. You're a misogynist. You are a sock puppet. You're a misogynist. If I were to go on Twitter right now and say I'm a Chinese middle-aged man, gay, who is pro Gamergate,
you're a misogynist.
And their response will be, "You're a sock puppet."
It's like, there's too many grizzled old white men in games.
Yeah, you're really a white guy who lives in their mom's basement,
who've never seen a real boobie in their life.
Exactly, right? Like, okay, and there are some people out there who actually know me in real life. I am a straight Chinese middle-aged man.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say white for a second, but then again, I'm thinking, oh, wait a minute, my skin color is not white.
It's like, damn, you ever thought it was African?
I love to joke the fact that I'm, in a store full of white people, I'm the whitest guy there.
Fair enough. Same here. I'm a hardcore banana myself.
Yeah. But when it comes down to stuff like this, I'm like, wait a minute. You're telling me I'm white. I joke I'm white. You don't tell me I'm white, right? You don't pull that racist shit on me. Look at my fucking skin color.
Honestly, Chad, every time I look at you, all I think is hardcore honky man.
Exactly. But yeah, and this is why there was another hashtag that came out of this because of that, and it's called Not Your Shield, right? So people kept on saying, well, you all are sock puppets. Well, and then as a result, people actually have a nice little, they have this nice little paper saying hashtag Not Your Shield, today's date. They take a selfie with it and post it on Twitter saying, I'm not your shield. And the majority of them happen to be women, right? Women who support Gamergate.
Yep.
Right. So you can't tell me that these people, quote unquote, that are on Twitter that are basically telling you to F off and stop being a bag of dicks in regards to, being anti-Gamergate, et cetera, you can't tell me that these guys are men because they actually posted on Twitter, hashtag not shield, with a selfie on a piece of paper, today's date. And they are actually women, not men in drag. But then again, they also, accuse men in drag as being, sock puppets. Because,
which they clearly are.
They, again, they also attack people who are, essentially they're accused of straight or cis white men, right? Well, when you really think about it, you're also you're assuming that people that are transgender that are not part of Gamergate. There are tons of transgender people that are part of Gamergate. There are tons of gay people that are part of Gamergate. There are tons of people of color that are part of Gamergate. There are a lot of women that are part of Gamergate. So you can't really say that this is all white people, white straight men.
You can't. I'm sorry. Basically, it's getting to a point where I'm trying to figure this stuff out. Like the way I see it, the social justice warriors they're trying to do the anti-bullying bullshit, right? Sorry, it's not bullshit. I apologize for that, but it's just the act of trying to be righteous. You end up being, basically you turn out to be the villain that you're trying to not become, right?
Exactly.
Because I'm trying to see these guys are trying to make change. Like I see it, right? Yeah. But they're too stupid to see what they're doing.
I wouldn't say stupid. I would say naive.
Naive
would be a lot more closer to what their issue is, because they think that by putting themselves into a bubble, let's face it, or their own echo chamber, that they will affect change. Let's face it. If you're going to tell people not to be misogynists, okay, it's not pointing your finger and flinging the word misogynist to make them change, right? You can explain to them, what the reasoning behind what you're thinking is, but at the same time, you do have to open the dialogue into discussing whether that viewpoint is valid or not, right? For all you know, the guy you might be pointing your finger and screaming misogynist, right, is a card-carrying member of the feminist movement, right? Not that there is such a thing, right?
Yeah.
But what if he is actually an actual feminist, right? Another thing is that what if this person actually does believe in equal rights for everybody, right?
Yeah.
And this is the one thing that really, really has me up in arms is the egalitarian movement.
The generalization of people.
It is a generalization of everybody being equal. Okay. Feminism is trying to make women equal.
No.
Right? No. Previous version of the second wave generation, second wave feminism is the idea of making everybody, making women equal. Not the third wave. Unfortunately, the third wave is the co-opt. It has more or less co-opted feminism as in general. So therefore, it appears that it is not such anymore. But the thing is that I believe in second wave feminism because it's a lot more closer to where I stand on it.
Yeah.
And I believe in egalitarianism. Right?
Yes.
And I identify more with the egalitarian movement personally. Right? Everybody is equal under the sun.
Yeah.
Everybody has equal rights under the sun.
Yep.
Right? Gays, straights, transgendered people, whatever,
Mhm.
right? That's my personal opinion, right? Race is the same thing. As much as I love to joke about racism and everything else,
Mhm.
let's face it, it's a joke between me and my friends, but that's not really how I feel about, certain races.
Yeah.
Right? Like, for all I know, well, John, Vietnamese people, blah, 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 here's a bag of garbage, dinner served.
Ooh, shots fired.
Yeah, exactly, right? Again, it's just a joke,
Mhm.
right? I'm not serious about that sort of thing. That's not how I truly feel about, everybody else. I hate everybody equally, hence I'm equal to everybody.
Yeah.
That sort of, joke. But at the same time, well, I tend to actually treat everybody fairly. I give everybody the benefit of the doubt,
Mhm.
right? And let's face it, that is true, that in itself is the underlying thing of egalitarianism. Now, as I mentioned, what got me up in arms is the fact that the egalitarian movement has been named a misogynistic movement.
Oh boy.
And I'm thinking, what? Where'd you get that? Well, you believe in equal rights for men too.
Yes, that's what being equal is. Both sides being equal.
Yes. Not one side being more equal than the other, to take a page from what? Animal Farm?
Yeah, that's what you call commercialism, actually.
Yeah.
Communism is the act of everybody being equal.
Yeah. Marxism has its, is great in theory, but in practice is not really, quite.
No, of course not.
It's not very practical. But at the same time, it's like, whatever. But I'm digressing here. And this is where you have, this is where social justice warriors kind of don't really see where, I guess you could see the light or the lack of a light in their arguments.
Yeah, it's just my problem is like social justice warriors, especially when all they do, as far as I'm concerned, is trying to white knight themselves, right? It's like, for example, I think the biggest social warrior wannabe is Tim Robbins. Like, this guy here, like, he actually goes on about, people smoking, right? Here's my take on people who smoke. Is like, number one, it's their bodies and they have the right to smoke, right? Under the rules, it's basically you smoke in your own house or outside, right? And he went on a talk show one day, and I can't express how pissed off I am at this guy. He basically goes on to actually say, when I'm outside and I see people smoke, their secondhand smoke invades my personal space, right?
I have something that kind of fits into that whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Ever heard of fart raping?
Yes, I have.
Essentially, it's smoke raping right there. Right. A person in the University of Toronto, and I swear to God, this is true. You can look it up.
Mm-hmm.
Said farts are misogynistic, and
women don't fart,
and that since farts are invading your space, hence you are raping them with farts. and I'm like, you're not serious, are you? Oh, you are. Oh, wait a minute. This is University of Toronto. Oh, that says a lot.
That says a lot. And the other thing I like to mention is like number two. I don't smoke myself, but number two, smokers pay for like 200% of all the medical bills.
Medical bills,
because
they also pay a lot of taxes because
the reason why is cigarettes.
Feds,
the cigarettes, like those you don't know. I think cigarettes are like 400% tax.
Oh yeah, it's brutal. There's a reason why there is a underground tobacco trade.
Yeah,
anywhere.
Yeah. So the people who actually go out and spend like $12, $13 a pack on cigarettes, they are pretty much covering their medical bill, your medical bill, and your kid's medical bill.
Yep.
Right. So, like, the thing is, I would always encourage people to stop smoking, right, for their own personal health. But it is what it is, right? So, like, living in a free country, like it or not, they're allowed to smoke. We restrict them into like smoking outside, and I think the new law that's coming out is they're not allowed to smoke in their car if they're like a kid inside. which makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But interesting enough, I have a friend who lives in Saskatchewan. His girlfriend just got pregnant, and she's a smoker. And this I found real interesting, right? She has to like limit her tobacco intake.
Yeah.
Because she can't just stop because that's incredible stress for the baby, apparently.
Yep.
So she has to reduce the amount of cigarettes till she stops, including the wacky tobacco.
Yeah. But, if you're pregnant and you're a smoker, wow, I really don't want to be in your shoes.
Yeah, because basically, I looked it up, and they're right. You cannot stop cold turkey because that's way too much stress on the baby, and especially yourself. You have to like basically slowly go off it.
Yep.
Right. Which is like 17 and pregnant, right?
Yeah, imagine nicking out. At the same time, your body is producing a whole lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
At the same time, which the baby may or may not be able to handle.
Yeah.
It's, you're going through nicotine withdrawal.
Mm-hmm. Hormones.
Hormones are going to be all over the place. Yeah, you're pretty much a tactical nuke at this point.
Yeah, and I told my friend like, congratulations for being a father, and he's happy about it. He's freaked out. It's like he's 22 and she's 17, and living on their own. And he actually was like freaking out because he was thinking that his mother would like kick his ass and so on. It's like, look, I'm going to be honest with you. It's fine. Like, you're young. You just be responsible for the kid, because that's all that really matters, right? Because, whether or not you're married or not, end of the day, you have to be a man. If you can't be that, then, you know what to do, right? But yeah, proud of the guy. he just got a job, coincident enough, and then he's going to move into a better place, and boom, kid happened.
Yeah.
Kismet.
That sort of kismet, eh?
Yep.
Alrighty. I guess we move on to a different topic at this point, because I think we've exhausted this, unless you really, really want to dedicate another 30 minutes to an hour for this thing, having us rant and rave over this. But actually, no, let's do that. Let's rant and rave some more.
Yeah.
As we mentioned, first anniversary of Gamergate, etc., etc. Guess who actually decided to actually wade into the? Actually, there were a lot of celebrities that I can think of that waded into the Gamergate consumer movement or consumer revolt. And Rice inexplicably was wading into it because of her little spat with some people who gave a couple of negative reviews to some authors on Amazon. One of which is Randy Harper.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, and the whole reason why is because she's screaming, blah, 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 this guy's misogynist. And he goes, well, no, I've worked with females in my, in tech. This is an account, working with females in tech, because this book is in regards to women in tech. And Randy decided to actually give him a negative review, which Anne Rice was like, yeah, go fuck off.
Okay. Let's go clarify the story here. Who's the author?
I'm having a little brain fart at this point.
Because you mentioned Anne Rice?
Anne Rice.
Okay. And who Anne Rice gave a
interview with a vampire.
Right.
And a lot of vampire books. So
who somebody gave her a bad review?
No, she actually decided to intervene on behalf of the author,
mm-hmm.
Because she's been seeing a lot of people throwing up a lot of negative reviews to people who put their books on Amazon,
mm-hmm.
right? And a lot of people who actually throw their negative reviews to these authors are doing it out of spite because of some sort of personal beef they may have,
mm-hmm.
right? Or they probably let some sort of group revolt for like the most stupid reasons,
mm-hmm.
Misogyny being one of them, right?
Is there a lack of integrity on this friggin' planet anymore?
Well, again, when the integrity is on the side of anybody making any any critique of any book that is done on the basis of something other than what is actually of the meat of the book.
Mm-hmm.
To be quite honest, like if you're going to throw a negative review for the sake of putting a negative review, don't. It's quite simply, just don't do it. It's kind of you're being a dick.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going to put out a negative review because you don't agree with somebody politically, well, you're not addressing what the book really stands for.
Yeah.
Right. So that's where I kind of like that's where that's the reason why Anne Rice got involved with the whole thing. Another person who actually it was Adam Baldwin who actually coined the term Gamergate last year. So he's actually put out a tweet saying happy anniversary to Gamergate. Another person who is actually pro Gamergate is Dean Cain.
Really?
Yes. He actually on a YouTube podcast came out and says he's in favor of Gamergate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Interesting.
And just this week earlier, Ice-T actually put out a tweet saying, "You gamers do what you got to do. Fuck the media."
Congratulations.
So he's more or less pro Gamergate, despite the fact that he was part of a episode of Law and Order Special Victims Unit parodying the whole Gamergate controversy.
Fair enough. But then again, SVU kind of, takes their ideas from, or at least Law and Order takes their ideas from society. Like, I love their Michael Jackson parody, so to speak.
Well, you could tell that even if all the acting they did on the SVU episode, you can tell that the actors were like going through the motion.
Yep.
Despite the fact that they're trying to be professional about it, but they're like, "Oh God, we're doing this."
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell Ice-T didn't really like doing what he did, but he kind of half-assed his performance.
To be fair, Ice-T does a general good job on the majority of the stuff he does, right?
Oh, yes. But he is himself a gamer. He's also anti-press. So, he's also anti-police. So there's a lot of things that him as a, I guess you could say, career agent provocateur,
mm-hmm.
right? He's had these opinions for a very, very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that he actually had to sit down and say, "Fuck, I gotta play the translator to this whole fucking thing? Really?" All right, Gamergate, level up, whatever. That was his acting in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
I actually sat through and I cringed throughout the whole thing. And it's like, really?
Level up!
Really? It's like nobody actually says level up. Oh, they leveled up. I'm like,
no, they go ding!
Oh, ding in World of Warcraft.
Ding!
Yeah. But, when it comes down to like, oh, these guys leveled up. Like, what? Really? Nobody really says they leveled up. Nobody says, hey, they raped somebody, hence they leveled up. Now it's a term of just mockery. Like, oh, this person did this, they leveled up.
Actually, getting back to the jargon bit, like the first time I heard that phrase, I was raped. It's like, what? Really? What? Because I don't take, like, I'm going to be honest, like, I don't take the word rape lightly, right? And then, of course, they translate to me after like half an hour of me trying to figure out what the hell they're talking about. The term is when somebody gets raped in a video game is meaning they basically won on many and they died from it.
Yeah, but it's I can understand why you don't want to use a term like rape and use it in a trivial sense,
mm-hmm.
but at the same time, we can't trivialize it by throwing it out there as a mechanism to shut down somebody.
Yeah.
And let's face it, there has been a lot of incidences in the press
mm-hmm.
where they have actually accused a lot of people of rape found out that, hey, nothing really came of it.
Mhm.
It was false.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, you hear nothing of the, oh, well,
That's
that
actually
happened.
one of my problems with the press. It's like when they make a mistake, they write a very small paragraph somewhere deep in their newspaper or magazine, apologizing about this, right? Even though it's a huge mistake on their part.
Oh, yeah.
But don't get me wrong, like half the time when you listen to those League of Legends and Dota and especially Call of Duty, like they use like. When did the word Jew become a term for? It's like isn't that a derogatory term, calling somebody a Jew, considering that the guy's being a Jew? It's like, what?
Well, the term, you're being a Jew is derogatory when you really think about it. It means you're being, you're kind of being stingy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You're being thrifty.
Yeah.
You're kind of trying to hoard your stash.
Yeah, but basically,
sort of
basically, it's like I said, it's a derogatory term. But when was it socially acceptable to say this? Because the first time I heard them going on about it, it's basically through South Park.
Yeah.
And of course, but the thing is, one of the creators is Jewish, so is that okay, or was it really okay? Because I hear a lot of 12-year-old kids throw the term around nowadays, even though I'm thinking, really? Nobody says anything about this, and they just completely ignore it and think, like, I don't know, it's not my word, so let it be. But I don't use it myself.
Yeah, and I don't really use it in a term where basically I use it derogatorily, unless I'm with friends and one of them is a Jew, and I usually, he's pretty cool about that. Like, it's the same, there are people who are kind of cool with, throwing around racial epithets just for the sake of, shits and giggles. It's sort of like when you hear somebody on the street, saying, "Hey, what's up, nigga?" And, if you were to say it, you get the shit beaten out of you. But if it's person of that color saying it, well, it's okay for them.
Well, I kind of think whatever word that used towards I can't seem to think today. Whatever word that you use for yourself, it's. I think what I'm trying to get at is that you basically take back the word. So any derogatory term that is thrown towards you, you take back. Just like the FAG word, the gay and lesbian community took that back, and the N word, the African Caribbean took that back. But I do find it hilarious when people use it like the term the N word. It's like, yo, my N word. I do think that's rather funny, though.
Yeah, but and then there's what else here? There's and a kind of a separate, somewhat related discussion here. I'm friends with. Well, I wouldn't say I'm friends. I have an acquaintance in Oregon who is part of a band who is fighting the, I guess you could say, the Registered Trademark Office in the United States.
The what?
The Registered Trademark Office in the United States, because his band is called the Slants, and this is an all Asian, band, right?
Really?
So, and slants is a derogatory term for Oriental people.
Yep.
Right, but he's using it as the name of his band, and the U.S. Trademark Office won't allow him to actually trademark the name.
Okay.
So he's going to court over this.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, in a sense, him and his bandmates are trying to take back a name, or trying to take the name and basically turn it into something a little more positive.
Good luck to him on that.
Oh yeah, you're fighting against the government at this point, but that sort of stuff. You kind of think, wow, this is you people are pretty fucked up on this thing. I know I'm talking about people who are actually using the racial epithets. I'm talking about people who actually take this shit seriously,
mm-hmm.
right? Because the irony is that if you're against white people, Well, okay. But if you're white and you're against white people, we all had a little term for that. It's called race hating. What was the term? You kind of hate your own race.
White guilt?
Yeah, that's the one.
I love white guilt.
Okay, I understand you guys have a bit of history in regards to racism. What race doesn't have that?
A small tribe in Brazil called the Hutuk. That's never known racism because they're completely, oh my God, what's wrong with me? They're completely isolated from the rest of the world.
Yep. Yeah, well, no, if you're isolationist, of course, you're racist. But, that also being said, you guys in the United States are your leading Republican candidate is Donald Trump. Think about it.
Yeah, I want him to win because I think it'll be funny as shit.
Yes, and I bet you his vice president running mate will be his rug on his head.
Who is now gained sentient.
Yep.
Who's now sentient, I mean.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
Wasn't that concept for a comic?
That was it was a concept for one of our comics, which never came to fruition.
But, never say never.
Oh, it'll happen sooner or later when I get off my ass and stop playing World of Warcraft.
Speaking of which, how's that going for you?
I want to quit playing World of Warcraft. It's like the flying is going to come in September, but every time I log in is basically an hour of doing my garrison chores, then jumping onto the Alliance Toon to do the garrison chores, and then do that stupid jungle daily and farm.
Yeah, so I kind of stopped doing that.
Yeah,
my subscription is more or less lapsed.
Good, because I was thinking the same thing. Because if it wasn't for the fact that I tried out the let's see what happens if I put 25,000 gold onto the auction house to buy that WoW token. It's like, hey, I got a month's worth of WoW for free. And so, looking at how much gold I have, I pretty much have 6 months of World of Warcraft, which I don't think I want to do.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that. At least not until they fix up a few things with it and stop making it monotonous. It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. They're like they lost half their subscribers.
Yeah, like the new expansion had promise. The promise is that they pissed it away.
Warlords of Draenor.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, it's kind of a rehash. It's like, for God's sakes, you're back.
It's a BC rehash, essentially.
Yeah. And of course, speaking of rehash, so is the next one.
Yeah, what's the rehash of, I believe?
Legion, Illidan.
Yeah, that's the other half of the BC rehash?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, guys. Really? At least you can go past 100 now.
Yeah, you get 110. Imagine starting from 1. So I have 109 levels to go.
Keep in mind they nerfed it so much that you can actually blow through that.
I have. I think I went from 1 to 25 in like an hour.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. But we'll see. There's so many other games I want to play, but that is another story to be told.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alrighty. We'll take a break and we'll be right back. And we're back. So we're going to try something a little different this time. Lay's has introduced essentially 4 flavored chip bags, and we're going to see what our reactions are to them live on the air.
Yeah, like the last 4 were brilliant.
Do you remember what the last 4 was?
I think it was cappuccino.
Yep, I thought that was good.
Wasabi.
We had wasabi?
I think it was wasabi.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what the other 2 were. I think one of them was poutine.
Yep.
And I have no idea what the 4th one is.
Okay. The 4 flavors that Lay's introduced this time is the Montreal's smoked meat, the butter chicken, and what was it? The some potato one.
PEI scalloped potatoes.
Right? And the one, and was it the last one is the cowboy barbecue beans. Have you tried any of these?
Yeah, I've tried the Montreal smoked meat, and I've tried the PEI scalloped potatoes. The Prince Edward Island scalloped potatoes, I would say, is extremely lazy. All you had to do is put sour cream or cream and cheddar and onto some chips, and that's about it. I never found it to be any different from cheese-covered potatoes.
So we're going to try the cowboy barbecue beans.
Yeah.
Because we only have two out of them, because that's the only one I can manage to find.
I guess we'll do butter chicken next week then.
Yeah, if we can find it.
Okay, so it smells like meat-ish, bean-ish. Smells like it's all the right spices you would put into like baked beans, right? And you've been using wavy chips for this one here, so let's give it a try. I need a second one to make sure I got the right flavor here. So
yeah, it tastes like it kind of tastes like salty baked beans.
Yeah.
On a chip.
It's pretty accurate for the flavor. Would I buy it? Definitely. If I cared to buy chips. But, if I have hankering for chips and then hankering for baked beans, this will definitely be nice. It's nice. It's got that, has a little bit of molasses flavor to it that you normally would put in baked beans to give that sweetness. And it has all the barbecue flavoring as well, which actually makes it nice. It's I wouldn't say it's a heavy flavor, but it's a nice, it's bold enough to actually give you that feeling of having baked beans.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the wavy chips though. They're fine, I guess. Yeah. So next one we're going to try is the Montreal smoked meat.
This one is going to be amazing because I've had this before at a party, and everything you expect from, Montreal smoked meat, you'll definitely get the flavor of it. It doesn't smell like it at the moment because it just smells like chip, but the minute you bite into it...
Wow. Yeah, it actually tastes like Montreal smoked meat sandwich.
Yeah, and that chip I had did not have that flavor.
Well, right now, if you want, they're on sale at Save On Foods.
Save On has it, Real Canadian Superstore has it, and I think they have the family size stuff for like $2
Yeah.
At Superstore. And they have all 4 flavors there.
Actually, I'm going to say the baked beans is probably the better one.
After trying the smoked meat sandwich for the first time, I was a lot more impressed the first time, but now, not so much. It's a little disappointing the second time around.
Yeah. It has a slight bitter aftertaste.
What are you implying there?
Has a slight bitter taste after it.
All right, and I guess we should announce this week's thirst quencher here. It seems that you're probably hearing us pouring something into a glass. This is raspberry Schweppes. Yeah,
kind of hard to find, but the local corner store has it, and it's kind of my favorite drink right now.
Oh, it's beautiful. Although I do tend to actually, when it comes down to ginger ale and such, Schweppes and Canada Dry are not my 2 favorite ginger ales.
What are?
There's a brand from Red Wagon. I think it's Red Wagon. It's called Sparkle Mouth. That one actually tastes like ginger ale, like ginger ale.
Ginger ale.
Yeah.
I think the one that comes close to that, surprisingly, it's the Superstore brand. It's their version of ginger beer. Right, 2 liter, it's super cheap. It has that really strong burning ginger flavor.
Oh, that one, yes, I've had that one before. I could barely finish that one because of how my mouth was burning with the ginger. But yes, that one's also pretty good, pretty nice too.
Actually, have you had some of the real quote cane sugar pop. I think was it Boyle's was one.
There's a lot on the market. I noticed there's a bit of a resurgence of independent pop manufacturers out there that actually put out their version of their own favorites.
Mm-hmm.
Just the other day, my buddy and I went to Save on Foods, and they had I guess you could say, a shelf dedicated to independent pops. You had Virgil's, you had Dad's, you had Sparkle Mouth.
Save on Foods?
Save on Foods.
Mm-hmm.
And they had this little folded up carton right there saying if you buy 6, it's like, $10 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, oh, okay. So, we picked out a whole bunch of stuff, and I grabbed 2 bottles of the Sparkle Mouth because I love Sparkle Mouth. 2 bottles of the sarsaparilla they had there, and then basically 1 lemon soda and 1 butterscotch soda.
Butterscotch.
Yeah, so I've yet to try that one yet because it's sitting at my fiance's. But because I had that second bottle of Sparkle Mouth, and her aunt wanted something like ginger ale, I go, "You want Schweppes or Canada Dry? Forget that. Here, pull up the Sparkle Mouth, grab some ice cubes, threw it into a glass, and gave her that. And she's like, "Wow, this is completely different from what she normally would have." Like, she was very, very impressed with Sparkle Mouth.
Nice. I'm just thinking back to the one drink it took me forever to actually went ahead and ordered one. It's a drink called Not Sea Cola. And I think we were talking about that. So I decided to basically buckle down, spend the $30 on the 6-pack, and get it shipped up to Canada. Mm-hmm. And pretty much that lasted for like 3 seconds. Crystal Pepsi.
Crystal Pepsi.
Yeah. I really, really miss Crystal Pepsi.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And unfortunately, they're not making it anymore for whatever reason. So you can't get any more at all.
It's sort of like the Tropical 7-Up.
Oh, yeah. The Tropical 7-Up was really nice.
I wish they would bring back Tropical 7-Up because that was so good.
I don't know what their deal was. Like, there's been huge campaigns to try to get Pepsi to make Crystal Pepsi, at least for a limited time. And I think Pepsi just doesn't want money, and they just refuse every single time, or it was too hard the first time, or whatever, right?
I'm guessing they no longer have the formulation anymore because the guy probably no longer worked for the company.
Maybe.
But Crystal Pepsi wasn't bad. In fact, they had a really, really good ad campaign for it because at the time when that came out, Van Halen was doing the song called Right Now. And it's like, wow, that's actually a pretty nice campaign, right? Video sucked, but hey, it's a good song for the campaign, right? Because Pepsi, choice of a new generation, Pepsi, blah blah blah. Their campaign has always been, hey, we're the new, we're kind of like the thing for the new hip generation, right? Yeah. So Right Now was a very, very smart campaign for them for Crystal Pepsi.
Yeah.
Do you remember Pepsi Blue?
Barely.
Yeah, it was kind of like a blueberry or berry type flavored Pepsi, which is kind of like, yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. I remember that. It's basically a sour version of Pepsi.
Yeah.
Which was stupid. Did you remember Coke, Dark Coke?
No.
It's the coffee flavored Coke.
Huh. I heard there was a coffee flavored Coke. I just never found it.
Okay, yeah, because I found it at London Drugs. Mm-hmm. And honestly, all it is basically, imagine Coke with no sugar.
Oh.
Yeah, I know.
Seriously?
Seriously. That's why it failed so bad.
Yeah, that's like, saying the new Coke is the better Coke. Remember,
oh my God.
Actually reformulated Coke.
I barely remember the new Coke.
I can't even remember the flavor of the new Coke.
I do. Okay, here's the thing. The Vietnamese culture has this process of fermenting lemons, right? Uh-huh. Like, basically, you take lemons, put salt, water, and put in a jar, put it in the sun for like 10 years. I'm not kidding about
it's something similar that the Chinese do.
Yeah, we have a canister in the back that's been fermenting for like 10 years. So the thing is, you take that, you put it in a cup, put some sugar and some club soda. That's Coke, right? That's literally Coke.
I see.
Now, imagine not using the lemon flavor and actually putting ginger instead.
Interesting.
That's what I remember the new Coke tastes like.
So in other words, it was a black ginger ale.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. But, but the thing I really miss is cherry Pepsi or cherry Coke.
You can still get that if you're going stateside, but it's not the Canadianized version where you have the sugar in the pop rather than the corn syrup in the pop.
Yeah. Also, it's like tequila treat.
Tahiti
treat. Yeah.
Yeah, I missed that one too.
Yeah.
I remember that as a kid.
Yeah. Which is why I drink so much Code Red, but I wish they would just take the caffeine out of the Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
Because, sleep is a problem for me.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I'm super sensitive to caffeine, even though I love Starbucks.
The irony.
Card-carrying member of Starbucks.
What else was a very nice classic? They did also a limited run of the Cranberry 7-Up, which was actually not too bad. I think they pull that every once in a while. Yeah,
it's you can still get it as cranberry Schweppes,
yeah,
or the PC flavored cranberry.
Yeah, I'm surprised that none of the other companies have kind of jumped onto that idea of doing their version of say Tropical 7-Up or Tropical whatever.
Actually, you know what the thing that really pisses me off? Coke's doing this, but their Coke machine that essentially blends whatever flavor you want to punch into.
Yeah.
Like Cineplex has.
Yeah, Cineplex has it. Nando's has it.
Nando has it. The thing that pisses me off about Cineplex is how freaking cheap they are when it comes to that thing. It's basically you buy a size cup and you fill it up with one flavor drink, no refills.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're paying $7 for before it was 1.5 liters or a liter. Now you're essentially paying $7 for half a liter of drink. Yeah. With no refills.
Yeah, they love being dicks about it, aren't they?
Yeah, and also I think the Starlight Casino has a machine, but they're as part of the all-you-can-eat buffet, so you can pretty much go nuts on that thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just like basically they do that. There's like no reason to go to Cineplex other than the getting your scene points and so forth.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like every time I go and grab a popcorn and 2 drinks, it costs me $20.
No kidding, yeah.
And one little thing of candy and stuff like that. And it's really ridiculous about how much they put you over a barrel for just wanting a popcorn and drinks.
Yeah. Because the thing is, I understand that they don't make any money playing movies, which realistically doesn't make a lot of sense. Right.
Well, remember back in the day where you had like 750 Tuesdays, and they were kind of losing money on that part, but they're making it back on food sales.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they kind of abolished, 750 Tuesdays, right?
Yeah,
because it was something for them to drive people to come into the theater during a weekday and still make money.
Mm-hmm.
But now you have these big megaplexes like Silver City. And you no longer have the luxury of charging, really, really cheap seats anymore.
Yeah. I don't know. It's the movie-going experience nowadays. Like, there's reasons why I go to Empire Theaters or was it Landmark Cinema now?
Yeah.
Because, like, one is that you can pick your seats. 2, it's cleaner.
Yeah, they do such a great job of cleaning the theater up, after every movie.
Yeah,
right. They spend at least about 15 minutes to half an hour to clean each aisle of this theater. They do have a small cleaning crew, but it's very insufficient when it comes down to spillage issues.
But then again, let's be honest. It's like no matter how hard you clean, if you're a dick as a customer who purposely spill their drinks, it's not really their fault. Like you can pick up the freaking bags of popcorn, the nachos, and so forth, but purpose spilled drinks. Not much you can do about that. But I am a movie going guy. I pretty much go and watch all the big blockbuster CG effect movies in the theaters whenever I can, and then later on buy them on Blu-ray when they're cheap. But it's half the time it's like fucking people there. It's like it's not like Cineplex is probably the worst place to go, and the only half the time I go there is mainly because I have a 2-for-1 coupon, or one of those buy a DVD and then save $10 on your movie ticket to go watch the movie, right?
Yeah, and then you have the idiot behind you kicking the chair,
which is why I pick the very last row center.
Yeah, like this is something that me and my fiance have done recently. That we've actually started going to the last row up top, just so that we don't have to deal with morons who kick chairs.
Yeah,
it's like, really, people, how hard is it to actually keep your feet still?
And considering how much space you have, like if you go to the AV theater, there is a ton of space. Like that's like 2 feet worth of foot space. Right?
Exactly. Unless you want to lie down to watch a movie, that's another story.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Did you ever try the D-Box?
Yes. I love the D-Box. Unfortunately, every time I go to see a blockbuster, the D-Box is sold out.
Oh, every time I do a D-Box, I always do it at least 2 days in advance.
Yeah. So, something to consider, but, sometimes I spontaneously want to go see a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I'm like, oh, let's go see a movie.
Sold out.
Yeah. Oh, well, we'll just have dinner, go home, watch a movie.
Yeah, especially how quickly they go to digital release.
Yeah.
Like, was it Mad Max was available on digital release a month after it came out in the theaters.
No surprise.
Yeah. So it's like if you want to wait a month, you can go watch it. The movie that I've been wanting to watch right now is Uncle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the 40 spy thriller. I heard it was really, really good.
Oh, yeah, same here.
Yeah. Now I kind of want to watch NWA after looking at half the trailers and reviews on it. But I don't know. There's probably a movie I probably would just digitally watch it later.
Yeah, I would too. But, again, it depends on how I feel, because I do want to see something like that on a big screen, and in some cases, I wouldn't mind being in a theater to actually sit down to watch that sort of thing. Actually,
speaking of big screens, have any word on any of those virtual devices coming to order at the computer store?
No,
not yet.
Nope.
Shit. That is the only reason why I'm upgrading my current computer, just so I can watch the DK1.
DK1?
No, sorry. What is it? Oculus Rift?
Yeah.
DK3, sorry.
Yeah.
Or DK4, whatever we're going to call it.
So you can watch your porn in Oculus Rift.
In like the 100 virtual inch screen, full 3D, which, by the way, they have full 3D. Speaking of misogyny.
Yeah, speaking of.
But actually, kind of think about it. Any upcoming tech news that you are aware that it's coming out down the pipe? Because September's like the fourth quarter is rolling about, and that's when all the new stuff comes out.
Yep. Intel has released a new i7 and i5 processors. There's a new Z170 motherboard out. What else am I forgetting here?
Video cards.
Video cards, nothing too new other than the GTX 950.
Mm-hmm. And all the new motherboards, they're starting to use DDR4. And yet, there's no 16 gig sticks or 32 gig sticks available, only 8. And they're crazy expensive.
Yeah. Well, DDR4 was expected to be expensive, because they didn't really do a lot of manufacturing on those.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I wouldn't doubt they actually started slowing down the production for DDR3 memory to start with DDR2 memory, but at the same time, DDR4 memory. But at the same time, they're kind of like, well, let's slowly build up the DDR4 market.
The question I have for you is, have you noticed if there's a big difference between DDR4 and DDR3?
Not very much.
And what about, the new Intel versus the previous gen?
I haven't read up on anything else on that.
Because I've been reading up on those, and other than it's only, a 10% difference between the two speeds, that's not something I've really noticed.
Yeah, well, it's... I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. But at the same time, usually when they actually change up the numbering system, for example, with NVIDIA, with the newest generation video cards, going from 7 to straight to 9
mm-hmm.
and leaving only the 800 series for the mobile was what they did for this current generation. So it was a huge leap from 7 to 9, and they skipped 8 altogether.
Yeah.
This is kind of what Intel has kind of done to a certain degree. They went and they did straight from 4th generation to 6th generation in the numbering system. The 5th generation is still kind of in effect, but it's only in the extreme i7 processors.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's they don't really specify what the what the major differences are per se, but as soon as I get the release on that, I'll read up on it.
Mm-hmm. So the big question is it even worth considering a new processor?
It's always worth considering a new processor.
The new processor versus the previous generation.
If there's not a huge jump between the previous generation and the current and the new generation, I would say if in terms of cost, if the previous generation is cheaper, jump on it.
Mm-hmm.
At least while there's still inventory. If you're willing to wait for the kinks to be worked out of the new processor and doing that, sure. But then again, you're going to be waiting another, 2 or 3 generations to begin with.
It's just the question is, the big thing is that they're jumping from DDR3 to DDR4.
Yeah.
Now, if I were to build a new machine now, should I consider DDR4 or just stick with DDR3?
Well, if you want to go to DDR4, then you're going to go for the new Intel processor.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be, there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah.
The previous generation didn't support DDR4. So you're going to have to just jump straight to the new processor as a result.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of differences between 3 and 4, subtle differences, but again, they're not that huge.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly in terms of the voltage. They're 1.2 volts on the DDR4,
mm-hmm.
1.5 volts on the DDR3. Mm-hmm. So, in a way, I guess they're trying to make it a lot less power hungry,
mm-hmm.
if you can call it that.
Yeah. But you put together a system. I'm assuming the new processor has not come out yet.
No.
Okay. So you haven't done a spec for a DDR4 system with the new.
I've done it for 5th generation processors, but not for 6th gen.
Okay. Because I was thinking, if it's not that big of a deal, I'm assuming that DDR3 is a lot cheaper now.
A little.
Compared to DDR4.
Oh, vastly different in terms of price. So it is completely cheaper, but again, depends on how much memory you want in it. You're not going to need anything more than 8 on average. 16 if you really want to, show your e-dick. But
I got 64 gigs of RAM.
Yeah, you're compensating for something, aren't you?
No kidding. and of course my wonderful hex processor.
Yeah, I barely make use of my quad core processor. So
and in terms of building a game machine, they're, as far as I see, they're at the price range. There is no point of going to DDR4 if the DDR3 would be just as good and the processor would be fine, and they're perfectly compatible with the new 9 series.
Well, if you're talking about 9 series NVIDIA cards, sure. Yeah, that's the only thing you don't need to worry about then. But again, do you really need to jump? If you really want to build a system now, then go with the 4th gen processor.
Mhm.
If you're willing to wait until right in the middle of, or right in the first bit into the 4th quarter and jump to the new processor and be the first one to get it, by all means,
Mhm.
if you're willing to wait for the memory to come out, because let's face it, the DDR4 memory is out. There's just not a lot of it.
Mhm.
And everybody's back ordered on a lot of different brands.
Okay. But has AMD, have they even stepped up? Are they even relevant right now?
I haven't heard anything in regards to AMD other than new APUs, and that's about it. And even the new APUs don't really compare to any of the Intel stuff.
Have you got a chance to play with any of the new AMD peak processors?
Nope.
So, for me, I've always been pretty much whatever's been the best, and unfortunately, right now, Intel is the best way to go. Their processors, I have not had one fail on me, other than the original i7 release.
Mm-hmm.
I've not had those fail. I've had AMDs at least 10% of the time straight up died on me.
Yeah, no surprise. But, AMD has always, I guess you could say, quantity over quality
Mm-hmm.
to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Because they produce a lot more processors than quality testing the other processors.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, the failure rate on that versus what they produce is...
It's beyond acceptable.
Yeah.
It's just like...
I even had an APU kind of fail on me.
Yeah.
Right? So it's... Again, depends on the purpose of the machine.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now, the APU I'm using right now isn't really doing much.
Mm-hmm.
And let's face it, I don't really plan to do much other than just, web browsing on it.
Yeah, because I had somebody come up to me and ask if they're going to build a computer, and the problem is it's always cheap, right?
Yeah.
I always had problems recommending the AMD, especially the ones with the built-in video card into it, right?
Yeah.
And then I haven't really considered AMD for their video cards in a long time. But there's always some buzz going around is for, value of money. Was this this video card better than the NVIDIA equivalent?
There has been some video cards that actually do well with Radeon on the AMD side. And for what you get, I guess if you're paying $800 for a AMD versus an $800 for NVIDIA, obviously the $800 NVIDIA is always going to win out a little bit more because it does actually show that it does perform a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of what you use it for, that's another story. There are people who have in the past paid top dollar for an AMD-based graphics card.
Mm-hmm.
This was mostly apparent I wouldn't say last year, but the year before.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember the Bitcoin mining craze.
Yep.
Like AMD video cards were the best for that because they could do very good. They do very well for the hash checks and everything else. And yeah, I was also suckered into that too because let's face it, hey, why wouldn't I want to produce free money?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Free money, which I actually had to pay my electric bill for, but technically that wasn't free then. Well, wait a minute.
Did you end up making any profit off it?
No.
Yeah, because there's always there's this one customer who basically gave me his card. He's a bit mining expert, so he was one of the guys who has been banned from returning shit to the store.
Yeah.
Right? And so he would basically have an entire basement full of these machines trying to, data mine stuff. And he went from Bitcoin to
Litecoin.
Yeah.
To Dogecoin to all the other ones.
Yeah. So as far as I could tell, he hasn't made a single dime, but he has made money building machines for people.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Because I know one guy who who got into the thing with one machine, managed to make 2 Bitcoins, and then when Bitcoin was like $1,400, he sold that to buy a bunch of other machines. At the moment, I think he's up to 160 Bitcoins.
Yeah,
which were they $400 a piece?
Pretty much close to that right now.
Yeah,
it is kind of trending downward a little bit, mostly because when the Mt. Gox thing kind of happened, it devalued Bitcoin significantly.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something like, wow, really, you guys fucked it up that bad?
Yeah.
Like, if you're trying to be the most secure money exchange on the planet, be the most secure money exchange server on the planet, not fuck it up that badly.
I don't know. As far as I could, at the time, it was just basically a trend which I couldn't be bothered with, because
I played here and there with it. I just never was serious about it.
Yeah. Well, the only reason why he got the 160 Bitcoins is because he had 16 computers running at the same time.
Yeah.
Right.
That would do it.
And
that would also increase the difficulty as a result.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what's happened now. There's no humanly made manufactured Bitcoin machine that you can build in your basement is now capable of doing it. Like, now that everybody's kind of gotten into the habit of creating Bitcoins and stuff like that, as a result, the machines are now kind of useless because they don't generate enough hash to even rub together one Bitcoin, much less 1/100 millionth of a Bitcoin, because you've helped increase the difficulty of creating these Bitcoins.
Mm-hmm. I do love that Dubai has a machine that you can just withdraw your Bitcoins.
Well, there is a Bitcoin machine ATM in Vancouver.
Really?
In one of the coffee shops. I can't remember where, but you can actually deposit money to create a Bitcoin, or create Bitcoins, or 1 month of a Bitcoin, or whatever the value is at the time that you pop in there, and then basically you can withdraw Bitcoins, but it takes a little bit longer for the process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of thinking you put money in this magical thing that's stored in some magical wallet somewhere on some magical server. It's all magic to me.
Like, I can understand if you're looking to do some sort of investment, but it's not something that is...
So what you're saying, you're better off buying property.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at my wallet right now on my smartphone, I have no Bitcoins in there. It is a wallet. I've actually transferred it over to another computer for the time being. But really, all it's really done for me is, well, I've made probably $50, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But, for all the time and what I spent to generate that Bitcoin, it probably cost me $300 overall.
Wow.
Right? So, in the end, like, it's not that worth it unless you're really hardcore into it.
Mm-hmm. But getting back to the whether or not it's worth getting the AMD over Intel and the AMD versus NVIDIA.
AMD versus NVIDIA, in terms of DirectX gaming, that sort of thing, yeah, NVIDIA is always going to be, head and shoulders above AMD.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm saying there's anything wrong with AMD. AMD does have, some pretty good cards. It's just that for what you're paying for, if you're an AMD fanboy, sure, whatever, right? If you're an NVIDIA fanboy, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Again, some people prefer apples, some people prefer bananas, some people prefer oranges.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah, and there is a reason why the majority of the consoles use the AMD, because it's the cheapest.
Yep.
Not because it's better, it's because it's the cheapest.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you know what? AMD, for its performance, what you pay for, it's actually not that bad for for a processor. The problem is the quality.
Yeah. End of the day, if you want to build a World of Warcraft machine, AMD is fine.
Yeah.
It's just basically if you want your computer to last longer, I would recommend Intel over AMD. And NVIDIA, my experience with the AMD cards is they always have a heating issue and a noise issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because for whatever reason, like I will take apart a video card and replace the thermal paste, even to the point of replacing the heat sinks to it, because their fan controls are digital controls, and they tend to fail quite a bit. So that's would explain why your fan goes at 100%, even though you're doing jack shit.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that was amazing. And so so we found out with software, not the card itself, and so on. But NVIDIA always has a problem with the NVIDIA driver failing on your Windows machine. Even if it does, reinstall Windows. That's the quickest way to fix it, honestly.
Yeah. That's something I may have to do with mine, because I'm having that issue as of late, and I'm thinking, well, I've uninstalled and reinstalled the drivers. It's still doing that. Yeah, it's probably Windows. Yeah,
because I fixed mine going through the DLL and replacing this and replacing that and editing this. But yeah, it's like for a normal person, no. Just honestly, reinstalling Windows will save you a lot of time. So back your files up, because nobody does that until it's too late. And then you got to come to me, and I will charge through the ass to save your files, right? Because I don't want to do it.
Yeah, well, neither would I.
Yeah. So, anything you want to add to this podcast?
Let's see here. I got a nice new shiny tablet.
Oh yeah, you got your through your Intel rewards, you got yourself the new your new HP tablet.
Actually, it wasn't through Intel rewards. Actually, it was a contest in Intel.
Oh, so you sold the most processors?
Nope. I participated in a lot of their training. So basically, they had this score to Intel Core contest, and I participated in it. And they just emailed me one day saying, "You won something. Reply back as soon as you can."
It's like, "Hello."
I'm like, "Okay, let's find out what I won." Okay, you got a new tablet. I'm like, "Sweet." So I got this nice tablet, Stream 8 from HP. Essentially, it's got about 20 gigs of memory. 20 gigs of storage space. It is a Windows-based tablet. Originally had Windows 8.
Is it Atom or ARM?
It is an Atom-based processor.
Oh, so you can put VLC in there.
Yes, I can. So, and it's okay. I wouldn't say it's fantastic. It does have a little bit of quirks because it's dealing with Windows 10. And Windows 10 does have a little bit of quirks, but so far so good. It's actually not too bad. Although I'm having troubles trying to connect to your Wi-Fi.
Okay. Well, here's the big question. Like I've kind of like my tablet straight up died. My Sony tablet, mainly because I punched it. Right. So the screen's not working, and I've been trying. I'm sitting here pondering between getting the Samsung Tab S. OLED screen. I love that shit. But it's Android versus that the Acer Aspire P3, which is an i5 dual core tablet with Windows 8 installed. It has 128 SSD versus the 16 storage, but I can expand it with the SD card, right?
Yeah. So you're wondering which one's better?
I'm trying to figure out which one to get, because if I get the Android one, it's basically I just have my phone with a bigger screen, right? Except I can't make phone calls.
Exactly.
And the other one is a goddamn Windows 8 tablet that I can essentially it's a processor.
Yeah.
A desktop processor. So I can essentially have a portable version of my PC.
Which I wouldn't mind having personally, because that's actually not too bad. And it comes with the Bluetooth keyboard as part of the folio. So my only issue is
it's
an Acer.
I'm okay with Acer.
To a certain degree, I'm okay with Acer, but in terms of the tablet,
Because I know you have one at the computer store.
Yes.
Right.
And that one's not working properly.
Software?
Yeah. Well, I tried to load up the Windows 10 demo on it, and somewhere halfway through, it stopped working properly, and it didn't install properly.
Mm-hmm.
So, the technician, unfortunately, is a little bit lazy on trying to get that fixed.
Is he busy or lazy?
Both.
Because I should have picked this up when it was like 400 something, but now it's back up to 550.
Yeah.
So probably it's always timing. It's like, hey, it's for something, but I'm flat broke and I can't buy it.
Exactly.
But what do you think?
For a Windows-based tablet, it's actually not bad.
Mm-hmm.
Although I'm looking at the store demo one here, and some things have kind of popped up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm noticing that if you look at the screen itself, it's not bad. The problem is the screen being held up. There's an issue.
Mm-hmm.
There's bubbles.
Really?
Yes. On our version. It's on the corners.
Huh.
So, not saying it's a bad product, but at the same time, I'm just saying that the quality is not quite as nice.
Yeah, because I've had the Samsung one, and I decided to return it because I'm a speed freak.
Yeah.
Because it delayed a couple of times when I was just loading up a browser. But then, I don't know, it's just basically the thought of having a larger version of my phone, which it's fine, but, still, it's a larger version of my phone, right?
Yeah.
So I was considering this for the real-world practicality of it. We'll see. Hopefully it drops down to 400 something, and I'll pick it up then. Anything else you want to talk about?
Off the top of my head, no. This week has been kind of quiet. It's the back to school stuff that's happening right now. So
Mm-hmm.
so I'm more or less occupied with essentially work,
Mm-hmm.
and that's about it. There hasn't been anything that really caught my eye other than the new processor, new motherboard.
The Note 5 that's been announced?
Note 5 has been announced, but not really on my radar personally. But it will have to be when it comes down to work, because now that most of the sales guys now are Bell trained dealers.
I've always been a Note fan because of the size, but looking at what the new one is, I probably going to get the Note 4.
Yep.
Yeah. Replaceable battery is the big thing, and of course the expanded memory.
Yeah, which is why I'm not very interested in the Note 6 as much as I used to. It's
5?
a nice screen
Note
and
5?
all. Oh, sorry, the S6, sorry. The Galaxy S6 was something that kind of caught my eye for a few minutes. And I noticed that, hey, wait a minute, where's that little thing to pull the battery out? Oh, no, the battery's all, inside.
It's all glued in.
What do you mean inside? It's glued in. I'm thinking, that's going against what they usually do. They usually have the battery that's replaceable. Well, not anymore. So, and I'm like, yeah, I think I'm going to skip this one.
Yeah, because that's always been the main thing I liked about the Samsung is basically the removable battery and the expandable memory, because I don't know why cell phones are moving away from that. Costs?
I think that the battery should last a little bit longer. But if if the way most people use their phones nowadays and how they charge things up, that battery goes through a lot of wear and tear.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, sure, battery technology has come a long way since, the very first cell phone.
But then again, a lot of people don't know how to optimize their phone.
Exactly.
Right.
The problem with Android is the optimization of the phone. It doesn't shut down things properly. and then you have to go into there. You got to do a force stop, or you have to have an app that does a force stop for you. It's a little annoying, and I've noticed this with a lot of the Android phones is how hot it gets after a while.
Yeah, because when I use my phone and I turn out the brightness, holy crap, does it heat up?
Yeah, I really hate having a very dim phone. So when I have to crank up my brightness, I feel the heat a little bit every once in a while. I also feel that, hey, I've got like 7 applications running in the background, even though I know I shut down 6 of them.
Yeah, and also LTE, turning that on and off, and then brightness, then a bunch of other stuff. But it's like there's a reason why my phone will last for like 100%. Pretty much for the majority of the day. And then, of course, I turned the rest of the stuff off, and then all of a sudden, boom, battery's dead.
Yep.
But on that note, we will end the podcast for this week. Thank you all for listening, and take care and have a good one.
Peace out.
Later.